Hello and welcome to another edition of Clifton's Clicks, your Cliff Notes to the Cosmos. As always, I am your host, Clifton Smith, and I greet you with so much love, respect, gratitude, appreciation, motivation, and integrity to reality. So, in this issue, we're going to dive into four different things. The first one is all about Nirahara, prana, and liquids. Second one is ketogenic diet for brain to enter into your health journey. Then we're going to enter into views on currency and the various frequencies that already are established for currency that we may not actually have thought of as being created but does exist. And then finally, we're going to talk about the layers of the matrix. How much do you actually need to know for that minimum effective dose to live your life that you wish to live? So with that, let's dive into it. So I just finished a 21-day intense liquid, spiritual, and physical process in which I consumed only liquids in the form of juices, smoothies, and soups for the past 21 days, minus 2 days. It's 2 days on, 1 day off, where you can eat solid foods, and then 7 days on, 1 day off, where you can eat solid foods, and then 11 days. So I just finished that full cycle and just finished the 11 days yesterday. And today was the first day of eating solid foods. And I must say that the reaction is quite interesting to chewing when you've not chewed in a while. So it's just an interesting experience. As you might imagine, not using your jaw muscles, and of course, a bit of relaxation occurs in the tension in the muscle area here, as well as a bit of perhaps atrophy from not using the crunching so much. And that might be expected. This is my second time doing it, and the first time I went through a lot of realizations towards why I would desire to grab some cashews or nuts to chew because I was kind of angry and it was an internal way of processing my anger. But this one, it was really well supported by a smart approach to the smoothies and soups that were made. And it grew my relationship to fruits and vegetables and how to make smoothies and soups to that level where you don't necessarily need to follow a recipe. You just kind of know intuitively what goes in what and what pairs with what. And that was very powerful, as well as a meditation called the Banyan tree meditation, where you're actually breathing in both through your mouth and nose at the same time and visualizing that you're intaking prana through the air as a tree does with sunshine. And that, combined with an intense daily routine of spiritual practices, created quite a powerful energy within my body to really focus on incompletions and things that I needed to resolve in my inner space, and not just complete with, but take action on the powerful cognitions that were replaced with those incompletions. And so, one of the fun things is I enjoy soup. I enjoy smoothies. And my body just naturally has realized how much more prana and how much easier it is to digest liquids than it is solids. And so definitely continuing this practice at least once every so often, if not more so, to go liquid. And after 2 days straight of liquid, there's just this incredible lightness within my stomach that occurred. And so Nirahara may sound like a bit extreme, eating liquids for 21 days and doing all these spiritual practices to support it. But you can start with where you're at. And as we covered yesterday or on a previous session, was that when you write a book, you're just appealing to the brain and to the logic to demonstrate how it should let go of control to experience breakthroughs and upgrade your operating software. Yet you're using logic as the entry point by which you're trying to explain this, creates a fortifying cycle of saying, hey, well, if I didn't learn this through my brain, I wouldn't be able to know this. So, no, I should still have my brain be in control of my operating software rather than allow an exploration for other areas. And while that's true, and what was talked about was how you should really use the book as a entry point to gain acceptance or just the possibility of awareness that there's another way that you can operate from, but you need an individual, a coach, or a live experience, conference or event or retreat to really fully embody those energies. And more so, if you're communicating through video, you can actually use a richer energetic transference delivery vehicle to send that information that's necessary, that doesn't just go through the brain or through the mind. And that's the beauty of videos, that's the beauty of music and movies, is that you can convey messages that really have a strong resonance in your internal space that may not necessarily be able to be struck, or received with simply the written word. And so that is a beautiful segue to keto, because while Nirahara is a very intense process of liquid diet, of starting to train your body to use prana for energy, you may be at this place where you just need to start somewhere. And the beautiful thing is, if you're brain centric, if you're logic dominant, then going on a diet that supports your brain health, which is what ketogenic does, is the perfect entry point. Why? Because your brain's like, I need things to make my brain more brainy, more active. And so, of course, you've tried coffee, you've perhaps tried supplements or nootropics, or you've done specific audio tracks to help your brain focus. Once again, brain, 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 brain. Well, ketogenic is saying, okay, well, let's play with your diet to improve your brain. Brain goes, oh, I like that. That's really powerful. Let's do that. And so you slowly figure out how to follow that recipe. But what you're also doing in the long run, from a multidimensional logic perspective, is you are starting to see how your diet can be adjusted, and you're adjusting your diet to see how you feel. And that is the key towards your relationship towards food, is that feedback cycle of just understanding just how food and what you consume and put in your body, supplement, liquid, solid, and otherwise, impacts you. If you haven't had that experience, then all these conversations of these crazy diets just seems so ridiculous. And many of them are. But the point is that it allows you, by entering through and appealing to your brain, which is your dominant processor, sort of the decision maker for many people at this point, it appeases them, saying, oh, decision maker, this is going to be good for you. So then you try it. And what's actually happening is you're feeling a result, you're feeling great, but then you're going to start to recognize that shifting and changing your diet is a powerful tool towards impacting your lifestyle, your health, and your energy levels. And so then it's the pathway for you to experience and explore other aspects of how you can upgrade your operating software. And so while everyone's different and on a different trajectory, if going through some of these more profound or conscious promoting lifestyle diets are challenging for you, say going vegetarian or vegan, I encourage you, if you're logic dominated or just in general, go keto. Try it out. Because it's the practice. Just like an entrepreneur isn't just about being able to create a great product. He or she has to resonate at that vibration and frequency of being a great marketer, a great organizer, helping with accounting, and understanding all the different DNA of business. So too is the frequency of learning about foods, about their impact on you, about creating food, about this idea of meal prep, of budgeting, of where to order it, of how to pair it. All of those are incredibly powerful skills to learn for any change that you want. And you're going through that process by moving to a ketogenic diet. And later on, when you are ready and you feel like you want to make a shift in your diet to, say, a more conscious lifestyle, like going vegetarian, then you know how to do it, because all you got to do is change the ingredients and learn where to order those ingredients. But you've done the practice of looking at food, assessing food's nutritional content, assessing where to buy it, assessing how it was made, assessing how to pair it, how to cook it, how to take perhaps certain supplements to support that kind of lifestyle. So ketogenic is really the key pathway towards a more conscious lifestyle for those who are linearly focused and brain dominant. And the reason why this is so vital is that, of course, in our later years, or in later years, people talk about their heart health, they talk about cholesterol and all these things that tend to occur when you're middle age or later. But all that prep work of building that plaque and those behaviors all happen in your earlier years, in your formative years of your teens, 20s, and 30s. And so while you may not necessarily see the trajectory that you're headed on right now, it's there, and you're establishing the foundation for that trajectory. And so I encourage you to look at ketogenic as a lifestyle choice, to develop your skills and vibration and understanding of what it's like to start to utilize food to affect your conscious growth, and know that ketogenic is a very powerful way of doing that. And so while Nirahara may seem out of touch or out of reach for you, and it's not, but it is. It has been challenging for me. This is my second time, and the first time was rough, and it doesn't have to be. And that's the beautiful thing, is that you can go through it with someone who's gone through it before and receive recipes that are easy, that are thought through, that are economic and easy to make. And it makes the experience so much more powerful, because I'm so much more connected to fruits and vegetables now. And I know all these weird naming fruits. Like, I just made a kohlrabi soup yesterday, and I had no idea what that was, let alone how it tasted or how to cook. And this is just one of a dozen different vegetables that I had no idea how to cook or prepare before starting Nirahara. And so when you think about how you shift your lifestyle, no matter where you are, I encourage you to explore a ketogenic diet. I encourage you to just explore your approach to food, because if you're that conscious to abide by a specific diet, when you're that conscious to your food, where you're consuming your food, how you're consuming food, that is the pathway towards greater consciousness over your lifestyle, especially as it relates to food. And food and water and movement are the three pillars of really, and maybe four, what you consume with your media and your entertainment, are really the four pillars of how to create a more conscious lifestyle. And so the next one I'd like to talk about is to create and download into you a program that looks at currency from different frequency perspectives. And currency has been something that I've been thinking about for a while, and have been meditating on it and continuously just approaching it with a beginner's mindset. And what you can look at is, of course, we look at the US dollar as currency. We talked about before that your time is currency, and you can allocate. Everyone has 24 hours in a day to allocate or to invest. And tomorrow you get another 24 hours, and you keep getting 24 hours until you die. I mean, it's great. It really is kind of like a perpetual video game. And so, excuse me, my nose itches. So time is a currency, and where you spend your time is an investment, as well as, oh, my nose. Excuse me. Well, we will skip the topic of currency right now. And I will encourage you to explore currency in a future time. And then the final part is about the layers of the matrix. When we talk about upgrading your operating software, it's about having greater consciousness for the impacts of your desires, of your wants, and of your actions. And of course, the ultimate action is to be in your greatest expression, highest expression. We then covered your discussion on your assessment on what it takes for you to make that vision a reality. And as you grow more and more in the open infrastructure of the United States, in the co-manifestation matrix that we are in, it's about providing and finding coaches who support you and who coach you, and not who are your coach and not a crutch. That's the catchphrase, and not entitle you or allow you to be in this powerlessness state. And so, as you're growing your company, as you're growing your business, one of the things to consider is the scope of your business and what it impacts in the various layers of consciousness. So, as you grow your business, a business can simply be, and it's beautiful, a small business in a community. Well, the layers of the matrix that you're impacting and influencing are far more far less than if you wanted to create a brand new currency, or if you wanted to create a new social media or some sort of advanced technology that influences millions or billions of people, or shifts the way we conduct business or currency transactions. You know, when you have a single operation rather than thousands of people, you're dealing with far less legal structure and legal issues. And so take an assessment of just how big an impact you wish to have what take a moment to observe just how far-reaching the impact is of your business as you explore yourself in your highest expression. If you are a solopreneur in your apartment working, you do not necessarily have to know so much about macro events and regulations. However, you could explore expanding your vision to interfacing with higher levels of organization and governance. For example, you can have a specific health clinic in your apartment. That's not going to upset or ruffle any feathers anytime soon. You simply have to abide by certain state, local, federal laws. However, if you are going to then scale it out to a multi-location business, now you're going to have to start to deal with greater rules and regulations. If you are actually trying to address and shift how the healthcare system is run, then you're going to have to deal with more layers. And so one of the things to consider is how much do you actually need to know about the various layers of the matrix. We oftentimes get so focused and involved on the macro events of our matrix that we fail to focus on the micro and the things that we need to do in the day-to-day. For example, you can be so infatuated and focused on your day-to-day that you lose sight of the fact that you owe taxes. Or you could look at your life as one of those opportunities for you to express your highest desire, but not necessarily have it impact the larger order of the collective consciousness. What you're doing here now is observing how your highest expression can be impacting various levels of the cosmos. When you're using multidimensional logic and you upgrade your operating software and you start to pursue your highest expression, because your consciousness level has expanded so much, you will inevitably, be impacting higher and higher orders of magnitude of governance in the matrix. And so it is vital that you educate yourself and understand just what is a possible implication, what are the implications of the successful manifestation of that which you desire. For you're not simply going to resort to being a solopreneur in an apartment building. You're going to be wishing to shift and influence how industries in the world view certain things that you're working on. And so it is important to provide support and encouragement and pathways for people to understand these various levels of the matrix so as to not get caught up or stuck, and to develop the groundwork and relationships that are necessary in order for the successful application and growth and expansion of your vision to manifest in its fullest expression. So while you may think that you're doing something small now, and the implications of things that are happening on a global scale are not so much important to you, it is highly encouraged for you to recognize that at some point it will, and certain relationships and understandings are best created now rather than delayed and waiting until your company or business is ready for it. Similarly, it is like going to an investor for the first time wanting investment, rather than developing a long-lasting, long-standing relationship when you don't actually need the money or the resources at that point. It makes for a stronger relationship and a stronger tie that is not transactional in nature. So for that, I'll leave you here and want to express and encourage you to not overdose yourself with all this information that is occurring on the macro if you're not there on the macro, but at the same time to understand that if you are doing deep multidimensional inner work, upgrading your operating software, you will be impacting the global collective consciousness in some way, shape, or form, whether or not you're aware of it. And so to continue to grow in your understanding of the matrix, but not to be overwhelmed by it. And vice versa. If you are spending all your time being engrossed in the macro and not focusing on building the small, then you will never be able to get to that point, that opportunity to impact the large global collective consciousness. Much like it is impossible to create a strong lake from a dry stream, you too must focus on continuing to channel your energies towards a flowing stream. Even if it is a weak dropping stream, it can be energetically amplified to create a more powerful stream. So if you do not have cash flow or the currency flowing to your company or your idea that is necessary, even if it is a small drop at a time, it's impossible to go from that to a rushing river. So you do not have to focus on building a rushing river to start. Simply allow drops to enter in through whatever means necessary, with the caveat that you have the regard and understanding of what is about to happen. So with that, I'll let you be, and I appreciate you for watching. And as always, I greet you with love and respect. Compassion, inspiration, motivation. Bye.